All right, everyone, we're here live. It was kind of a boring day. I guess everyone knows that we're all on our little lockdown quarantine phase right now. So I decided I called Jeremiah up literally last minute, and even Joseph at the last minute. Uh, I guess within the last 30 minutes, he got a hold of me. He's like, "Man, dude, I want to come on with you guys and ask questions, just participate, really." So my guests are Joseph and Jeremiah. Joseph, he works here in the city of Houston. He works for the city actually. And Jeremiah, some of you guys may know him, but he's he's a Bigfoot researcher. He has his own group. What's the name of your group, Jeremiah?
Yeah, we kind of tweaked it a little bit. It's now On the Trail in Search of Living Legends.
On the Trail, in search.
In search of no, excuse me. The group name is On the Trail, Cryptid Paranormal Research Investigations.
Okay, cryptid. I'm gonna put a little scroll at the bottom so everyone can see it. Cryptid Paranormal Investigations, right?
Research, Cryptid Paranormal Research. Excuse me. The YouTube channel is Investigations.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So what you have going on, man? Anything new to report, or you can talk about whatever you want to. I know you've had some stuff happen. You probably want to say that for your show, but
no, I don't. Joe, come on, man. How long I know you, man? I don't mind at all. No, just over the stuff I've had going on the last couple of days. You referring to?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'll try to make it as speedy as possible. But we live. I now live in, as you know, I'm from the Adirondacks originally. Most of my experiences and sightings have happened up there. Moved to Eastern North Carolina a couple of years back. Never realized how active it was down here until we got here. We live right on the edge of a national forest. I really don't want to mention the name.
Go ahead.
But anyway, we live literally right on the edge of it. We can sit on the back deck at night and hear them go off, holler, and yell and scream. And we get hundreds of feral cats in the neighborhood. Hogs come through, deer, chicken farm right down the road. So my opinion, they come in, why burn calories that they need, when they can come in for a free meal? It's like a buffet. And I had a theory, there's a train tracks that run, right along across the street from our house, and underneath this trestle, okay, it's a bayou area, and there's a trail, like a game trail. If you were to hit that game trail and walk to where I think they're coming in from, you would end up deep in that area. I was just talking about the national forest. Anyway, decided to give it a shot the other day and go check it out, and went down to my stepson actually, and we're right at the trestle, and I'm looking down, looking for tracks at the bottom. He said, "Jeremiah, what's that? What's that?" And just as I look up, granted, this is, I'm going to say a couple hundred yards away down the trail, the track line, and just then I see a upright biped auburnish figure hop over onto the other side of the track, and it was gone. We did a size comparison after with the sign he was near when he crossed over to the other side. I was dead even with it. And my stepson and I both agreed that he was a good 2 feet, foot and a half, 2 foot above the fence, which would make him over 7 feet, him or whatever. You can see where after he had jumped down, the disturbance in the crusher stone on both sides from where he came up and back down. So at that point, we went down underneath the trestle into the bayou area, and tracks all over the place. I sent you some of the pictures, Joe. Those are from today, actually, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, found some good tracks, and I look, and on the girder that's attaching the steel beams, I see a dead animal, and I said, "What is that?" And I see a turkey fan at first. Okay, rest of whatever this was covered up with bark, and it was the weirdest thing. I'm still having a hard time processing it. But I said, I started taking a video, got as close as I could, which was about 15 feet away because I couldn't walk into the bayou itself. I'm paranoid. I hate snakes, cottonmouths freak me out. So, uh,
Yeah, me too. I don't mess with
ends up,
snakes.
oh man, ends up being a 4.5 foot gator. And, we
Yeah.
don't have a whole lot of them here in North Carolina. And you can see part of the tail and you can see the head, but you can see on the side of the neck, something had bitten several chunks out of the side of its neck. And that just blew my mind. And for me, if I was to walk out in that water, I would be above my waist, okay? Then you're talking another 6 feet to place this gator on top of. And it was placed perfectly, bark laid over most of the body. So you're talking about something, that would have had no problem killing a struggling 5 foot gator, okay? Then take a couple chunks out of that hide, had it was unbelievable. And again, like I said, there's also a turkey fan covering up part of it, which I also found pretty interesting. We got some good pictures, some good tracks, and so we're sitting there taking pictures of tracks, and all of a sudden I get lobbed in the knee with a piece of crusher stone. So I said,
wow.
I think it's time to go. I think probably around feeding time. So, buddy, I had my 10-year-old stepson, to get out of here. So
Yeah.
we left, went back yesterday. But I was just referring to it 2 days ago. Went back yesterday, get there, find new tracks, get some more photos. Gator's gone. It was gone. So something took it back, and there was different. You can tell by the tracks that they were different. There's different individuals there than there had been the day before, And Stacy and I just actually took a walk down there. That's where I'm coming from now. Absolutely, pardon me, that's why I'm so dirty. But found a bunch more tracks, some good size ones this time, and I actually caught some eyes, and I sent you those pics, Joe, and get a good look at them later. You can see
That
the
was definitely weird.
facial, very weird facial outline. You can see the eyes, yeah. So I want to analyze it a little bit more, but it just sat right there looking at me. I could see the movement in the head. And,
yeah. When you sent it to me, I had it on my phone first, and then I went to my laptop to look at it on my laptop. Because on my phone you can only see one eye. You only see that one red eye, right?
Yes.
So when I put it on my laptop, it has zoomed in. Then you can see the other eye, and whatever it was, it definitely had forward-facing eyes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
See, that's weird because on my phone, I don't know if it was the way the angle I was at, but I could see in one picture I got, you can see one, and then the second picture you can see two, and then it goes back to one again. So I got three good photos of the face.
Yeah. And then one of them, in one of them, it looks like there wasn't anything there, but like I said, once I put it on my laptop and I zoomed in, then you can see it again. That real slight eye shine. Yeah.
Yeah. So real slight red eye shine.
If you see one where you think it's not there, look on your laptop or computer. What's up, Joseph?
Yeah.
Oh, so you actually saw eyes gazing at you?
Yes, sir.
How do you actually, like, do you feel something in the back of your neck, like something was watching you? How do you react? Did you feel like a threat, or there was just? I
didn't feel a threat, no. But the reason I started flicking photos is number one, it looked like a really good. My wife mentioned it. Man, Jeremiah, that looks like it could be a really good nesting area. Prior to that, we were hearing something walking around, and it sounded bipedal to me. And I said, Stace, that's bipedal.
Wow.
And so I started flicking pictures, and when we stopped, it stopped. So I started flicking pictures. Yep. I started flicking pictures, and that's when I caught it. But I couldn't. Like you said, sixth sense. That as well. I could tell something was in there looking at us for sure.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong. It still shook me up a little bit, as it usually does when you experience things like that. But I didn't feel threatened. No, there was no. I didn't feel threatened. No.
Okay. Got you.
Maybe it's because I had a woman with me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Joe. Joseph,
has there ever been a situation where you feel threatened, like in a certain area of where you live, due
oh
to
yeah,
that?
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I've had a couple disturbing experiences up in the Adirondacks. Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
also had a weapon on me too, and she saw that. It was a female. She saw that, and then she flickered her eyes back at me and kind of gave me the look. Hey, go ahead and skin that smoke wagon if you want, but I'm gonna get to you first. So yeah, you can say at that point I was pretty disturbed. But yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Joseph was kind of new to this, this whole subject. I know he
Oh,
has a little
okay.
bit of interest in it because he knows me. He knows I've always been into it. So,
Right.
so
Yeah.
he's got a lot of good questions, I'm sure, and
Oh, cool.
it's okay. It's okay for him to be skeptical.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
I believe something's out. I mean, I have just a quick story. When I was 9 years old and I was hunting with my grandpa out in Carlos, Texas, in the middle of the night, I kept on hearing whoops and whops. I don't know what the animal that was, and I asked my grandpa what in the world that was. He told me it was a mountain lion. I don't know no damn cat even know no whoop or whop.
Right.
So that's ever since then. Ever since I was 9 to 10 years old, I automatically know, like, holy shit, man. There's actually something. I know there's something more out there because.
Oh yeah.
Cause the sound was so distinct, man. Them hairs were right. Everybody else was asleep in the camper, and I could hear the whoop, whoop, and I was like, "Hell is that, man?" And I woke up my grandpa. He's like, I go to sleep, blah blah blah, and it went on for for good. I wanted to say an hour and a half, just straight up whoop, whoop, and I was like,
that's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're known to do that too. Go off.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I know something's out there.
Interesting.
So it's absolutely crazy that I got to share. I actually get to have an experience like that because
Yeah. I think I know I've heard those whoops before, and like Jeremiah was saying, he had that rock thrown at him. I've had stuff thrown at me too out there in the sand. Yeah. So it's funny when you can hear people from different parts of the country have the same kind of experiences. That everyone else has.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
For
cool.
sure. Yeah.
So
even
how long
though
have you been a researcher?
myself,
Yes.
I've always been a believer. My grandmother was Native American. I come from a logging family. We have a lot of land up in the northern Adirondacks. So I grew up hearing stories, from Graham, and I had always been a believer, But in 2000, I had my first visual, and that was with a juvenile. He was about 5 feet. He weighed about. To this day, I still say he was a good 200 pounds. And people say, well, that's not that big. Well, yeah, 5 foot, solid muscle, 200 pounds. That's pretty good. That's pretty stacked.
Oh yeah.
And the movements he made and the athleticism was just incredible. And then it just that turned my world upside down. Even though I had been a believer before, at that moment I became a knower.
Right.
So from that point on, I was seeking the answers. Got into the research independently on my own. From that point on to 2007, I had my second experience. Did a little more research on my own, and then finally we're at the same time. Joe, you and I hooked up with Will around the same time, I think.
Yeah.
That's how we met, and we were with him for quite a long time. Learned a lot, and now I'm like Joe. We're doing our own thing as well, and I'm enjoying. Right. It's an obsession. It becomes an obsession, for sure. It really does. And for every answer you think every question you think you have answered, 10 more pop up, Joe, and I'm sure you agree.
Yeah. It's like a big web,
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are you guys from the same part of Texas?
Yeah, we're both here in Houston.
Okay.
Houston, yes.
Okay, I didn't know you. Okay, that's right. You are back in Houston. Okay, that's right. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I haven't been hunting ever since I was younger, but if I go out there, I'll definitely, I'm be more aware of, what's out there. So
it definitely does that to you, for sure.
Yeah.
And
sometimes when I'm sleeping, I still hear those whoops and wobs in my it's stuck with me. It stuck with me for years, man. It stuck with me for years after that.
Yeah.
again, I was so gullible. My grandpa told me it was a mountain lion. I was like, nah, that's no mountain lion. That's not no mountain lion.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that stuck with me throughout the years for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if it was a mountain lion, why would it stick with you throughout the years?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because and that's something I think we hear a lot too. People like they try to discount what they've seen or heard as something else, but it sticks with them forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if it was something that that you knew what it was, and it wouldn't have stuck with you like it did.
Yeah,
Right.
we hear the bear. Oh, it was a bear on 2 feet. Okay, well, that wouldn't stick with you and give you PTSD and all sorts of good stuff. If it was a bear on 2 feet, Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point, Joe. It really is.
Oh yeah. So Joe, what was your first experience?
I've never had a true sighting per se, but when I went out there, I guess probably 2015. I had already been a researcher for a couple of years at this point, and I went out there with my friend Shane Jerimiah. Shane, and I mean that night we were hearing what's called wood knocks. I don't know if you're familiar with wood knocks or you've ever heard of the term where it basically sounds like someone. Yeah, it basically sounds like someone out there taking batting practice.
Yeah,
it sounds like it just sounds like major leaguers out there hitting baseball around. And we heard these all night, continuously. And like me and Shane, we were the only ones out there in this whole area for miles. And we were hearing this all night. We were hearing the whoops, At night, we were hearing the screams, Even at one point, Shane said, "Hey, there's some eye shine." He saw some red eyes, So that first night that me and Shane went out, it was a crazy night. Our friend Armando pulled up in his truck, and he was parked over there, and something hit the side of his truck. It hit on the side. It wasn't like something fell from the top. It was a side shot.
Right.
Definitely,
side shot. Yeah.
And so and then that was the same night. I think I told you, Jeremiah. We went. It was right after we heard that something hit his truck. We went out there. We had the flashlights, and Armando had his badass flashlight lit up the whole forest. And right when he turned the light right on the edge, that's when I saw those two legs kind of like jump out of the light.
Yeah. Remember you telling me that?
Yeah. So whatever it was, it had two big hairy ass legs, And then when the light hit it, it jumped out of the light, man. Yeah. That was my
pretty good indicator.
Yeah. And then like I said, I've had stuff thrown at me. I've seen flashes of fur a couple times from one tree to the next. Of course, my kids have been out there with me too, and my son Joseph, we were out there one night, and he was hearing the whoops and stuff like that too with us. He was out there. My buddy Armando and another friend of ours named Jacob. Also, we were standing in a corner. We're not in the corner, but like in a little circle in the middle of a clearing. We're actually putting our gear up, get ready to go home. And I heard something hit the ground. I thought someone dropped their flashlight, And they were like, "Hey, Joe, check this out. And they were looking at the ground. There was a rock on the ground right in the middle of all of us, Now, Joseph, you know better than anyone else. Are you going to throw a rock at four guys? There's five of us out there, but four of us were all armed, and two of them were heavily armed. Are you going to throw a rock at these guys?
No.
Hell no.
Armando had his AK. Jacob had 245s. I had a 45 and a 40 caliber. And so we were all armed. We were ready to go. And
you think that's why they? Do you think Do you think that's what might have irritated the situation, Joe? Them seeing the long guns?
Maybe because at that time they hadn't took out the long guns. We all had sidearms on us, but at that time they didn't. We're putting our gear up. They had their the rifles in the back of the truck. So when they pulled them out, maybe they saw the rifles. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
So they're familiar with these firearms that we have, man.
Yeah.
That's a new one to me. I've never heard of that.
100%. 100%. I had a similar experience.
Yeah. There's several encounters. One of the most popular ones is by Mike Woolley. I think everyone knows Mike Woolley. He passed away last year, as a matter of fact. Almost a year. Yeah, it's been about a year.
It's been a while.
He pointed his rifle up so he could get a better look at it through his scope, and the damn thing got pissed off at him, man. He started growling at him. He got pissed. But it's funny once you hear that, you start talking to more witnesses, they'll tell you the same thing. But they pull a rifle up just to get a better look at it. They said, "Damn thing gets pissed off, doesn't like it." Yeah.
Well, you remember me telling you that juvenile when the juvenile popped out from behind that skidder that night. I had my rifle on me, and I pulled up to get a better look at it. You know, I wasn't going to shoot it. I had no intentions of harming this thing whatsoever. As soon as I pulled it up, it ducked. It kind of covered up its head in a way. Hopped behind the tree. That's the last time I saw it. It knew what that gun was, without a doubt.
You know my story about me when I pulled out my 45 that day and I wrecked around in the chamber. I'll tell you about that one, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell Joseph. So I'm walking down this trail and I hear some hogs. So I'm like, shit, I don't want to, hogs come running out of the bush. You don't have enough time to really shoot at them. So I get off trail. And I'm walking along the side of the lake. I walk maybe about 100 yards or so, and I come back to the trail. I get back on the trail. I'm walking. I can hear them hogs again. I was like, shit, man, So I walk back to the lake. I'm walking along the edge of the lake. Now I'm going so far that the lake kind of turns off, and I'm like, well, I'm not going that way. It's just too wooded. So I get back on the trail, and I'm walking. Everything's good. I'm probably walking maybe another 50, 60 feet. And I started hearing movement. And I said, well, man, that's got to be them hogs, right? So I get my gun out, and I rack around. I had a 45. I racked around it, and I heard this raw, just like that. I never heard any kind of vocal like that, and that's what I think that when I racked that around, they didn't like that. Yeah.
Wow. So they're more intelligent than I. That's new to me. I've never heard.
Super intelligent. I brought a guy. Joe, remember the year Stacy and I lived off the grid down at our research spot up in the Adirondacks that summer?
Right.
Yeah. Joe, to make a long story short, Stacy, my wife, and I decided, hell, take a year off of work, do some hardcore stuff, some hardcore research. So, my father handed over a plot of land to us. It's 270 acres, beautiful piece of property. And, after living there for that year, it was crazy, especially that summer in particular. It took them about 2 months to get used to us. Anyway, I made the mistake of bringing somebody down there that I don't think they like too much. And I told them, I said, listen, I do carry, I'll carry a sidearm, but I don't show it. I don't carry long guns down here anymore. Now that I know that there's a group of them here, do not bring a long gun, whatever you do. Well, we get down by the spring where I had encountered that female in the past, and we can't put her tent up and stuff. And he's a heavy drinker, and pulls out what were those old Mossbergs? They called them the Just in Case series. I think they're called. They're the pistol grip, the short ones. Anyway, he pulled that out, and all of a sudden there's a boom. And I said, did you just let around? Was that an accidental discharge? And he looks at me with the stupidest face, says, no, I was just checking to see if it was loaded. I said, why? How? Am I pulling the trigger? You know what I mean? And it wasn't 5 seconds later, man. We hear a tree get pushed over from one direction to our left. And then all of a sudden I look and there's a log flying through the air, lands smack dab on the border where the shoreline starts for this swamp. So I number one, I don't think they liked him because first of all, they saw that long gun, and I think they got a bad vibe off him. I expect maybe seeing him almost shoot me. You know what I mean? Because at that time, I think they were pretty much used to us and actually didn't mind us there. We meant them no threat, but we had a pretty hectic night after that. They messed with us quite a bit. I don't think they were trying to harm us. They were just trying to give me the hint. Hey, we don't like this guy. Don't ever bring him back down here again. Needless to say, he was never invited back. but yeah, I told him, don't bring a long gun. Whatever you do, and try not to irritate him. We'll be fine. But you know how people are. They don't listen.
and isn't that funny too, Jeremiah? But you kind of touched on that. Sometimes they just don't like a certain person, right?
Exactly. And I think that was part of it.
Yep. Yeah. Sometimes I've heard people say that they bring people out with them, and for whatever reason, they don't like that one person. They say every time that person goes out,
Yep.
they act up.
They act
Yeah.
up. Yep, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Remember my old research partner, Kelly Robinson, by any chance?
Yeah. I
Back
remember
of
the
the
name. Yeah.
They did not, for some reason, every time I went out with him, we had issues. We got paced out of the woods that night. Remember that when that happened? We got paced out of the woods. He had.
Yeah, that was the middle of the night, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the first thing I ever really felt in fear of my life. Will thinks we interrupted a hunt to begin with, but on top of him being with me, I don't think it helped because every time I've been out with him, I've had issues. We were at another spot in the Adirondacks called, I don't mind throwing this name out there because it's not my land or anything, it's state land, called Scary, New York. And we had built our fire and it was dust time, and yeah, you remember those old thick phone books, from back in the day, like, you just about crack someone over the head with them pretty much from unconscious, So he had thrown that in the fire to get the fire cooking a little bit hotter. And all of a sudden we start getting rocks tossed at us. And like hard, like not just lobs. I'm talking, pretty aggressively, and one right after another. I said, okay, they obviously do not want us here for a reason. Well, let's get out of here. And we grabbed our gear and we were gone. And the rocks were still coming at us as we're running away. And they picked up that phone book. First he feels something hit him in the back, and it was that phone book. They pulled it, they yanked it right out of the fire, and they threw that phone book at him. And Joe will tell you, Joseph, that these things are very proficient. If they want to hit you with something, they are going to hit you. Yeah. They don't miss. That's for sure.
Yeah, if they miss, they miss on purpose. Yeah.
Exactly. But they don't, for some reason, every time I went out with him, bad experience. So you're right. I agree with you 100%. It's some people that get that bad vibe off.
The MLB needs to go out there and scout them, man.
With that, right? Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy. Absolutely. Yeah.
So as many skeptics as there are, what do you, the status of these things? Do you consider them like, of course you're going to say they're existent because of all your research, but the official status of these things is still considered a myth, considering all the evidence that's out there versus all the skeptics,
That's kind of a tough question, in my opinion.
I mean,
what do you think, Joe? I mean, guys like Joe and I mean, we know they exist. I think more of the scientific community is starting to accept it.
Okay.
Not to jump down a wormhole here because I'm we'll save that for another time. But I think there are individuals that know they exist.
Right, of course.
You catch my drift. But
yes,
I think it's becoming way more accepted than it was.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe
I
not.
agree. I can.
Yeah, maybe not myth anymore, but maybe fringe science, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah. If that makes sense,
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's definitely becoming more accepted.
Sure.
Now that I've come out, which I never really kept it much of a secret anyway, but I from when I started doing it till now, I definitely don't get the crazy looks. I get a lot more questions. I get a lot more questions now. And it's funny, even from people who like who might make fun of me or whatever. And usually, it's all in fun. There's not, mean spirit or anything like that. But the other ones will come and pull me off to the side and they'll start asking me questions, or they'll tell me, hey, when I was young, this happened to me, or my uncle told me he had an experience, or whatever.
Absolutely.
So I find that a lot. And,
yep. Same here. Yeah. Which I think is a cool thing. It really is. I was known in my area where I'm from originally. I was known as a crazy Bigfoot guy for years, and I won't lie. For a while, it bothered me, but after a while, hey, listen, I know what I've seen, I know what I've experienced, and like you said, Joe, after a while, people would come to me and say, "Hey, listen, don't say anything to anybody." But when I was this age or that age, or when my uncle back in the '80s, whatever, saw one,
Yeah.
What do you think? So,
Well, yeah. Well, like, yeah, like I've got, friends and family who's like actually put me off to the side or, come and actually look for me here at my house, and like knock on my door, man. Like, hey, man, I was out here hunting the other day and this happened to me, or I saw this, or, this happened. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's what you got going on over there. And, and people had stuff going on for years on their land and didn't even know what was going on, So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I would love to experience. Like, I actually want to go out there and experience it for myself. I'm not more of a skeptic. I mean, ever since the incident when I was 8 or 9, but
right.
I actually want to go out there, and see for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I see all the evidence. That all those shows on Discovery Channel. I'll never know if those shows are even real. What was it called?
Like finding Bigfoot, or it should have been called
Bigfoot,
not finding Bigfoot.
Not finding
I'll never
Bigfoot.
know
Yeah.
if those are real. I don't know if those are just fake shows just for actual publicity. But I actually want to go out there. I want to experience some of the stuff that y'all are experiencing. You know what I'm saying? So I can experience. Just experience it. You know what I'm saying?
For yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I really get it. I get it completely. I've had friends like that as well, where I've turned them into believers, not without even having a sighting, just showed them the evidence, and through vocalizations they've heard camping with me, and and they pop over on the other side of the fence and admit, okay, there is something out there,
Yeah.
Right.
there is something out there for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely like when experienced hunters will come to us and say, hey, this freaking happened to me. I saw this thing and I'll never go hunting again.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Yep. It ruined I tell you, it ruined my hunting for a while after my first. It ruined it for a while. But I wasn't going to allow it to get in the way of a passion like that. But I don't deer hunt on my primary research spot up in the Adirondacks anymore. I don't deer hunt up there anymore out of respect for the group.
Okay.
Yep, they just won't do it. So.
Gotcha.
And I don't want them to look at me as a threat again, seeing me carrying a long gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
They definitely know what they are.
So what's your biggest, if you have a print, the size comparison in size, like the biggest sighting that you've seen? What's the tallest? What's the most broadest? I guess you would say a pack leader. I don't know how they roam.
Alpha leader, alpha male.
Alpha male.
Yeah, the alpha. Yeah.
My wife back that summer during 2016, she saw one that was about, she came out to camp, and I knew she had seen something. My wife, how would you describe Stacy Joe? Very she wears the pants in their relationship, if you want to put it that way, and she's a tough woman.
She's a very strong woman.
Yes, she doesn't scare easily. She's into the paranormal. She's a paranormal researcher. Anyway, and I looked at her. I said, "You okay?" She said, "You're not gonna believe what I just saw." I said, "You saw one?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "How big was that?" And people tend to over exaggerate when they see one for the first time, because they're so massive. And she said, "Well, it had to have been 12 feet tall." I said, "Okay, tomorrow morning you're going to take me to the spot where you saw it, and we're going to figure out how big it was." Brought me to the spot, and she showed me the limb that it walked when it turned around and walked away from it. The limb that it walked under, and from the bottom of the ground to the bottom of the limb was 10.5 feet. She said it walked under the limb, and the top of its head was only about 2 inches under the limb, which would have made it about 10'3". And that's a big, that's a monster. That's big. And from, even the female I saw, that big female, she had to have been 700 pounds. 3 foot from chest to back, I'd say 3 feet. I mean, and Joe, I think you and I have had this discussion. I think people underestimate the weight of these things. I really do. I really do. And for different reasons. You take that guy, Robert Waddell, the tallest man that ever lived, was 8'11", but he was 550 pounds. So take a 8'11" Sasquatch that's 3 times his size with muscle mass and bone density.
Yeah.
Wow,
You know
dude.
what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting? You know what I'm trying to say? I mean, you're gonna probably just double that. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah. Easy.
that's just an opinion. It's
Yeah.
speculation, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. I
That's
mean,
wow.
granted, there's different types of these things and such, but yeah.
Right. So different types of these things, as in like regional, or different types of species, or what do you?
That's what's your Joe? I think both. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I
both.
think I think you hear a lot of the bigger ones up north, and then the smaller ones are down here in the south. But even the smaller ones, you're still talking 7, 8 feet tall.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
But I mean, you get that with all with all game. Really, a lot of the game in the north is bigger than the game here in the
yeah,
south. I guess a lot of it has to do with the environment, maybe the cover.
yeah,
Of course,
yeah,
being up in the colder weather, animals going to put on a lot more weight, to keep warm. So
yeah.
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it too. But
Oh,
and then there's also different
definitely.
species. There's at least 4 known species. There are probably going to be 6, 7 species of these things.
That's what I'm starting to think. More like 6, 7. Then subtypes within them. It's kind of the
Wow.
Yeah,
latest thing I've come up with.
yeah, yeah.
Just an opinion. Just an opinion. Even within Texas, Joe, how many subspecies would you think you had?
Man, at least 5. At least 5.
Yeah,
I think we have the
exactly.
basic 4,
Yeah,
but at
yep.
least 5. You know.
Same as where I'm from in New York. I think we've got 3. I think we've got the one through. Actually, no, I can't say that. I think if we're missing any, it might be the 2.
Mhm.
We definitely got the type 1. We've got the type 3, and we've got the type 4.
Yeah,
But there's also, I think we've got subspecies within them. Down here in North Carolina, we've got the 2 for sure. And then in Western North Carolina, you get the bigger ones. And you get subspecies within them. And
yeah,
just through taking reports over the years and personal experiences myself, it's definitely fascinating. That's for sure. And then you get into all the other ones from all around the world, different countries of the world. I mean, it's just mind blowing. I know it's hard
yeah,
enough to fathom one of these things walking around, let alone different types in each state.
yeah. Yes,
But that's just the way it is.
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
just intriguing all the way around, man. How
Yeah,
as
yeah,
big as things are, that as big as huge and as big as these things are, man. Like these are a lot of these things or a lot of these squatches. I don't know the correct term. I'm sorry. That are able to hide from society, and not everybody is a believer. I think that's mind blowing in within itself.
Well,
You know.
yeah.
like one of the things that when we go into the Sam Houston forest, I mean, the forest is so thick, you could literally hide a T-Rex back there, no one would see it.
Sure.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
but even with that in consideration, uh, like where I was at when I was living out near San Antonio, and you're talking about the hill country. You're familiar with the hill country, right, Joseph?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like out New Braunfels, San Marcos, almost the
Mm.
Austin area. There's still plenty of woods for these things to hide in, but it's still pretty much rocky and of course hilly. But there's a lot of creeks and ravines. The
Mm-hmm.
rivers, they're deep enough for anything tall, 8, 9, 10 feet tall to
Sure.
walk around and no one will ever see it.
Sure.
Even
Sure.
in the daytime. And
And they're
of
good at
course,
camouflage
yeah,
too.
yeah,
You
and
can
then
walk by one and not know you're even walking by. You can be 5 feet away from one and not even
yeah.
know.
Well,
That's
it was one thing
Yeah.
that I talk to people about all the time. Was we were at the zoo one time, and I don't know what these little monkeys were. But they're like I don't know 2 or 3 feet tall monkeys. They were solid black. This doggone thing jumped in the tree. It was a small tree, and I couldn't find them. I was
Yeah.
like, where did this little ass go?
Yeah.
I said, I just saw him jump in this damn tree, but he jumped in
Yeah.
there and he stood perfectly still, and I couldn't see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow.
yeah. So and I saw him do it. I know he didn't jump through a portal.
Right. 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 But he knew how to camouflage himself. Yeah.
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 They've been doing it for so long to evade us. They are total masters at what they do.
Yeah. Joseph, one thing we
Total
call them is the forest ninjas.
forest
Forest
ninjas.
ninja.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Forest ninja.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they are good at what they do. The best. They are the best at what they do. I should say. Yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So, have you seen anything new within the last decade that shows like they're evolving in some type of way? So, like from
Well,
the new stuff that you've experienced.
we're hearing of more types, Joe. Would you agree on that? We're hearing a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of new descriptions.
yeah.
As far,
Yeah. That's what I want to talk to Joseph about. If we go back a little bit, just about the four
yeah,
types.
yeah.
There's four types. Actually, I want to look it up so I can tell you the right thing. There's a type 1, a type 2, type 3, and a type 4. The type 1 is more like the. Do you remember the old Patterson Gimlin film, the one where he's walking across, or it's actually a female?
Yeah, yeah. That classic footage. Yeah.
That's more of like the type 1. And that's A, because type 1 and type 4 are classes A. Type 3 and type 4 are in the B. So type 1 is more like the patty. The type 2 is more like almost like an apish, gorillish looking. Maybe almost a cross between a man and an ape looking thing.
Yeah,
but it's probably more on the apish looking side. Then the type 3 is more of what would you call it? A baboonish looking one?
Baboonish, simian type fate, nose, snout. Yeah.
And then the type 4 is more of like the people describe it as looking like a Neanderthal.
Yes, but that's a pretty cool. They're actually supposed to be the smallest out of the bunch out of the four Joe mentioned. 20 miles down the road from where our research spot in the Adirondacks is the Mohawk Indian Reservation, native reservation. Sorry. They describe seeing these things along the St. Lawrence River in the bogs. And real quick story, real good friend of my dad's was on the river one night, and he cut his motor for different reasons. So I won't get into it on the radio, but he didn't want to be seen by any other boats, put it that way. So he was going through a narrow channel, the St. Lawrence, and he hears commotion in the water, off to his left, and he had 2 million candle spotlight on him, lit it right up, and this thing comes from a crouching position, stands up, and to him, the way he described it is what Joe was just saying, like a relic hominid, ancient human type looking relic hominid, Neanderthal, however you want to put it, grayish in color. And this is going to blow you away, this part. No facial hair, but the color of the you think I'm crazy. The color on the face, he said, was pinkish.
Whoa. Okay.
Which, that could have had a lot to do with the lighting. A lot of people have pinker skin, So,
right.
I'm not saying it was hot pink. I'm just saying, he described it as like like a pinker color than what we would have. And he described this thing as, little over 7 feet, but still very put together, more proportionally built like us, as opposed to the type 1s where they'll have the long arms. This thing is more proportionally built, shorter arms, kind of built more like us. And that would be your type 4. And,
okay, wow.
Yeah. And that's just 20 miles from where we see the big ones up there. So they do live in close proximity as opposed to what a lot of people think.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued now. I really want to go on a trip now just so I can. I've seen videos of people getting speakers and getting old recordings of vocalizations and trying to put them back. I want to do. That's something I really want to do.
Oh, sound blasting.
Yeah, sound blasting.
Isn't that what they call it, Joe? Sound blasting.
Yeah, sound blasting. Yeah. It was funny. We actually were doing that one night. Well, it was in the daytime, and the forest guy that were there, the head guy heard us and he walked over. He goes, "What are you guys doing?" And we were like, we're not doing nothing." But he knew what the hell we were doing,
Oh yeah, he knew.
Yeah, he knew
for sure.
And it's funny. Like at some of the Bigfoot conferences, he's always there. He's always there. Yeah.
But, he knows then. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's never been a guy to say whether or not he believes or doesn't believe, but I know
Right.
for a fact he has seen stuff, but he just doesn't talk about it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of those rangers and forestry
Yeah.
workers, yeah, they just don't talk about it. Like I said, where I'm originally from, I'm 2 miles from the Canadian border, and the border patrol guys up there see them all the time. They just
Mhm.
they're told to keep their mouth shut about it. I'm personal friends with a few of them that have seen them. But they say anything, there goes their career.
Yeah.
So what's the reasoning behind not saying anything?
I have we've got there's so many theories out there. God,
I'm I'm pretty sure that the government just doesn't want
go,
to confirm it, and if an employee confirms it, that's kind of like the government saying, yeah, they exist. So I think that's a lot to do with it. Now, why the government doesn't want them known, I don't know. That's who knows, man.
I got
Oh wow.
I got a theory about that. I mean, which I guess would kind of make sense, and I probably said it to you, Joe, 1,000 times, but okay, think a lot of places where these things are seen are national parks. Okay, now if the government goes ahead and admits, okay, we have an endangered species living here in wherever, I'll use Glacier National for example. Okay, well, they have to invoke the Endangered Species Act, protect
You're right.
them. There goes their millions and millions every year from tourism to the national parks.
That makes
So
sense.
maybe it comes down to money. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just a
Yeah.
theory. Just a
Right.
theory.
But then
I
you
think
think about that, if it's an endangered species living out in the woods, and I mean, you're talking about the logging industry has to come to a stop,
Oh, with
so
right, and there's even more money.
yeah. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think at one time I read that the logging industry, and I might be wrong, is it had to do something like a third of our economy, because of
yeah,
everything that the logging industry produces, everything from housing to paper.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, look at where a lot of places they get oil too. I mean,
Yeah,
same deal.
yeah, yeah.
Same
So
type of thing.
so
Lots of
who knows?
reasons. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah. The guy from Ozark Mountain said, "Look who created the national parks." Yeah, I think the government did all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. For sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely different reasons. I mean, which one is the correct one? Who knows?
Yeah. I don't deal with that with government stuff, Joseph, because we've known people, right, Jeremiah, who have gotten
Yeah,
involved
oh
with it,
yeah.
and man, they've come down hard on their asses.
They've come down
So
hard on them. Close friends
so
of ours.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. So I leave the government alone. I don't mess with them.
That's why I said I'm not gonna crawl down the wormhole. That's
I got
why
you.
I
I totally understand.
yeah,
Yeah. Stay
yeah.
less. I got you. All right.
What I will say though is we did one night. We made the mistake about doing it. It might have been it was myself, Don Gummo, and you might have been on with us that night, Joe. I don't remember. This was like 3 years ago when we had the old show after Will let us run notes in the field. We jumped right into it. Don described everything that he had been through with these people, and immediately after we went to post the show, we both recorded it, put it on our hard drives. The minute we went to upload, it disappeared off both computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that quick, man. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I try to not to jump into it too
That way they
deep
won't see
either.
my face correctly.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Put your mask on for the COVID-19.
Right.
You know what? I was going to say that too. That's probably another reason why it's kept quiet. I mean, look how people are acting right now. Buying up all the damn toilet paper.
Exactly.
Now you want to tell them we have a primate living in the woods?
Yeah. Not to mention, you'd have all sorts of people running around with automatic weapons, and trying to go out and trying to kill these things, and ended up killing other people by accident. It would turn into a big cluster. Lots of things.
Oh wow.
Definitely a lot of reasons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It goes very deep. That's for sure.
So going for Squatches. What do you research any other creatures that could be out there, or is just primarily squatches that you?
Joe or myself? I'm starting
Oh,
to
both
personally.
y'all. Both y'all.
Well, I'm starting to look at other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. There's
Definitely.
I guess it's part of the Bigfoot types, I guess, but they call it Dogman. It's more of a that looks like a werewolf. People claim it
Yeah.
looks like a werewolf. And there's different theories on what it could actually be. If it's actually
Right.
canine, or if it's actually just a primate. Like a giant,
Yeah.
baboon-looking creature.
Right.
But people always often say it looks like the creatures from like Underworld.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common one. And these are a lot more aggressive for sure.
Yes. More sinister.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, these these are the ones you don't want to run into.
No, not at all. And I used to be for years I had the belief they were all misidentified Type 3 Sasquatch sightings. But now there's so many people seeing them now that they're describing something totally different. I mean, which has got my attention for sure.
And
So
and those things, there's a lot of sighting in the hill country on these things. A lot of
Really?
sightings.
oh really?
Yeah,
That's what I'd heard. Yeah.
There's a lot of sightings.
It's actually when I went to call you the other day, I was going to tell you about a report I just got on one. From an old buddy of mine up in upstate New York. She was going down. She was near the Native reservation, excuse me. And her friend in the passenger seat said, "Hold, slow down! You're going to hit something." All of a sudden, this thing leaps out in the middle of the road. She slams on her brakes, turns its whole body, looks at him, stares at him for 5-10 seconds, and she described a werewolf. And up there, when we hear, there's different descriptions as well. I know there's some with the canine type feet, then you'll hear about some with Sasquatch type feet, and that's what they described was, legs more like a human and feet like a Sasquatch or a human. But the face was, she said it was like a cross between a German Shepherd and a wolf. I mean, and then they stared at him for a few seconds, and they were scared to death. They felt as if they got out of the car, they would have been in danger. And it pivoted, took one bounce, and was gone. Took off.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, I think for sure that a Squatch is hard to bring down with any kind of firearm.
Yeah.
But I think whether it's a long rifle or not, we've all heard of these things being shot, but knocking the Squatch down at least sometimes, or even killing them. We've heard reports of those. But I don't know if I've ever heard of these things even flinching when they got shot. Which we're talking about the Dogman, and I've heard people talk about how they shot them, and these things would just stand there and just look at them.
Yeah, I've heard a couple stories like that. Yeah. And you're right, Joe. As far as
and some of these rifles, they're like high-powered rifles that they're shooting these things with, and they're just don't even flinch.
Especially, I mean, think about if you place that shot right, you should be able to put anything down. I mean,
or knock it down,
knock it down. Like, I know I have no reason to believe that. Let's take a 300 Win Mag or 300 Weatherby Mag, for example. If it can put down a 2,000-pound bull moose with one shot, I have no reason to believe that it could not put a Sasquatch down.
Right.
And that's for sure. So a lot of these times when people will say, I shot it, you'll hear a lot of BS online. I shot it 6 times in the chest with a 30-06 and it just walked away. Come on. I mean, I'm sorry, I just have a hard time buying it. But it's like you said, Joe, as far as the whole Dogman thing, I know what you're saying because I've heard the stories as well. I don't know what it is, but and it seems like when we hear about these Sasquatch, we've heard several stories, Joe, over the years. How many have we heard this where one of these things will get dropped, shot dead, and another one will pick it up, put it on its shoulder, carry it away.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. That's what we tell people all the time too. These things are never alone. They're never by themselves.
Never.
Even when people see one, I guarantee there's another one around.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have no doubt about that at all.
I don't want to go hunting no more.
All right, guys, we're running up on an hour here.
Yeah.
Joseph, you have any more questions you'd like to ask, man? Did you have some really good questions, man? I'd like to.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed it, guys. I really did.
Sorry, I didn't mean no disrespect. Not saying that.
No, I mean, you were good.
No, dude. No, man. No, you're good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself. I appreciate it, Joe. I appreciate meeting you, Joseph. Great meeting you. Yeah.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. Pleasure. If you're ever in Houston, man, we gotta go shoot. We
Oh.
gotta go shoot it sometime, man.
Well, you guys are actually telling Joe you're probably going to see me sooner than I think. My wife and I work in the solar industry, and just before the COVID, we got offered a job on a solar site in Texas. So that'll be where we're headed next. Texas.
That's
maybe
awesome,
help Joseph. Maybe help Joseph with his ground game.
Yeah, there we go. There we go, man. There we go. It'll work out perfect. Work out perfect.
Man.
All right, guys. Let's end it
I
here.
appreciate it, Joe.
Tell everybody goodbye. Thanks for joining us, guys. Both you guys, hold on real quick.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate y'all.